Hello, Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to my video. We are still discussing on the oxidative phosphorylation. We've done on electron transport chain. Now we move to the second and third process, which is the chemiosmosis and ATP synthesis. Before we discuss further reaction on chemiosmosis and ATP synthesis, let's revise the movement of electron during electron transport chain. Okay. The electrons transfer during electron transport chain causes proteins to pump hydrogen ions, aka the proton, from mitochondrial matrix into intermembrane space. Thus, it creates the proton concentration gradient. It means that concentration of hydrogen ion in intermembrane space is higher compared in the mitochondrial matrix. Okay, why does there is a creation of proton concentration gradient? It is because to generate the ATP. Remember, as I told earlier in previous video, vast majority of ATP is produced via oxidative phosphorylation. Now, high concentration hydrogen ion in intermembrane space leads to the diffusion back of hydrogen ion, aka the proton, across the membrane from intermembrane space into mitochondrial matrix, and the proton or hydrogen ions pass through the ATP synthase. So, the flow of hydrogen ion, aka proton, down their concentration gradient, we call it as the chemiosmosis because this process follows the principle of osmosis. So, diffusion of hydrogen ion back into the matrix through ATP synthase will release the energy, and release of energy we call it as proton motive force. And that energy is used to combine ATP plus Pi to produce ATP. That's how ATP synthesis works in chemiosmosis. Alright, so this process produces 26 to 28 ATP compared to glycolysis and Krebs cycle that produce only 2 ATP per glucose in each process. And because of chemiosmosis links electron transport chain and to the ATP synthesis, so chemiosmosis known as the energy coupling mechanism. And now you know that how's ATP produced in oxidative phosphorylation. So this is a diagram of ATP synthase. It is actually embedded in the inner mitochondrial membrane, which is the crystal that makes ATP from ADP plus phosphate in organic. So ATP synthase use energy of proton gradient, which is the proton motive force, to power the ATP synthesis. So the ATP synthase actually is a rotor that spins when it receives energy from the diffusion of hydrogen ion from intermembrane space into mitochondrial matrix. The diagram of ATP synthase you don't need to remember, it's just information for you.